I will briefly show an example of tree bucking, which is part of the tree utilization lesson for the LaCuKnoS project. So the goal will be to cut a whole tree into logs, depending on set mill specifications. So we will use an example mill with very simple specifications, and we will buck or cut this tree into logs according to those specifications. So in our example, we will be utilizing the Blue Mountain Mill as an example, and we'll try and get two different logs. A small log in which the small end diameter is 5 inches and the preferred length is 16 feet. And a large log in which the minimum small end diameter in inches is 12 and the preferred length is 36 foot. So we will start with the bucking pattern that includes a high value log, which is the large log at the bottom of the tree. And we will try and get as many as we possibly can within the minimum small end diameter specification. And then we will continue into trying for small logs. So let's look at a profile of a tree. So this is a tree profile. In this profile, we have the diameter and the height of this tree that has been felled. And so we have the information that we need to be able to see where we can fit those small or large logs. So we will start, as I said, with a large log. So in this case, for this tree, if we want to fit the first log, we want a 36-foot log, then we will see that from the bottom of the tree up, at 36 feet, we get a diameter of 13 inches in the small end of the log. And since our mill is accepting up to 12 inches, then that means that that log will be within the specifications of the mill. So the 13 inches will be the scaling diameter for that mill. And that is the one that will be used to determine the volume of that log later on. So we continue to the next page, in which the first log is painted in brown. And since we already have the first log at the bottom, we can certainly try for a second large log of 36 feet. However, we know that because of the small end diameter of 12 inches, if we go further up 36 feet, our small end diameter of the log would not make up for the specifications for a large log. So we will have to try with a small log, okay? So we try and fit a second small log on top of the large log. And because our large log ends at 36 feet, we add 16 feet to see where our second log will end within the tree. So we add 16 feet to the 36 feet, and that takes us to 52 feet. And that gives us a small end diameter of 11 inches, if you look at the table to the right. And because the small log is has this minimum small end diameter of 5 inches, then we're well within the range that the mill would accept for small logs. So then we can, now we have a large log on the bottom and then a small log next. So now we have two logs, right? So can we try a third log? In this case, it would have to be a small one, right? Because again, we are limited by the small end diameter. So by starting from the previous point of 1552 feet, then we add 16 more feet to add a third log. And that leaves us at 68 feet on the length or the height of the tree. And according to their table, our small end diameter at that point is 9 inches. So our scaling diameter for the second small log would be 9 inches. And we will use that to determine volume of the log later on. Okay, so we are at 9 inches. Can we fit a third one? Now, since we were left at 68 feet, we add 16 more feet and see where the small diameter leaves us. So that would be 82 feet. And at that point, on this particular tree, we are at 6.7 inches diameter, which is still within the range of what is preferred by the mill. So that tells us that we can fit a third small log in this same tree. Now, because the scaling diameters round down, so means that if we have a 6.7 inches diameter, then we need to round down to 6 to determine the value, okay? So we're at 6.7, can we try another log? So we keep going up. So from the previous point, we were at 84 feet, sorry. So we add another 16 feet. Can we get one more small log? And that leaves us at 100 feet. But for this tree, our diameter at 96 foot is 4.9, which means we are below the threshold of the small end diameter for the small log for this particular sawmill, which means they would not accept that log, okay? So that ends the bucking process for this example. And in the end, we get one large log at the bottom and 3 small logs on the top. So the final step is to determine the volume of all of those logs. So at the very end, we have a table that is summarizing all 4 logs in this particular tree for this particular mill. So we have that the first log on the bottom was a 36-foot log with a scaling diameter of 13 inches. The second log is a small log, 16 foot, with a scaling diameter of 11 inches. The third one is a 16-foot log of 9-inch diameter. And the last one is a 16-foot log of 6 inches in scaling diameter. Now, this lesson has a table in which you can find the log volume in board feet, depending of the log length and the scaling diameter. And I will go briefly to that table. So let's say the first log is 36 foot and a scaling diameter of 13 inches. So we go up to the volume table on the lesson, and we had 13 inches scaling diameter, log length of 36 foot. So we had 220 board feet. The second log was 11 inches in the small end, and it was a 16-foot log, which is 70 board feet volume. So at the very end on the table is a summary of all of those volumes. So here they are. So the 36-foot log with 13-inch scale and diameter has 220 board feet. And then the second log, which was 11-inch scale and diameter and 16-foot log length at 70 board feet. So what I did is I looked up each one of those logs on the table and wrote down the log volume. And then I added all them up to see how many board feet we can get from that particular tree for that particular mill. So in the lesson, what students will do is that they will go through this process for 2 mills. And at the very end, they will get the total volume for each one of the mills. And if the goal is to maximize the amount of volume that we want to produce out of that tree, we will be sending those logs to the mill that gets us more volume. And that is the end of that lesson. So I hope that this was an easy way to follow up the example. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you.